my tongue. Ain't happening. If I say the wrong thing, that's fine. Message me, call me out in the chat room and say, actually, it's called this. But I'm going to say it the best way I know how. And you know what? If you want me to explain it further, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. But don't pick one word out of a huge message that I'm given.
Right. That's
not cool. So I got pissed. and I was ready to walk away. I was getting, not every review was bad, but I started getting reviews on iTunes about my laughing and about how I derailed the show and about my drinking on the show. And, I started getting real, because I'm like, who in the hell are y'all to judge me? Mm-hmm. Once again, makes you no different than a religious person.
Right.
So I got pissed and I was ready to walk away from all of it. The hell with all of it. I didn't want any part of it. And I took a vacation and I just kind of worked things out in my head. And, I talked to, two people that really brought me out of my funk and made me realize, that I shouldn't worry about those people. I mean, you can worry, you can have empathy for them, but their problems are not my problems.
Right.
And I have this say, and I was taught this saying, and I use it to this very day: not my circus, not my monkey.
Yeah. I have to say though that you guys, with the show, you guys seem to have caught lightning in a bottle. I mean, because it's a lot like, when I describe it to other people, I describe your show as basically sitting out on the back porch with a glass of tea and just shooting the breeze with your friends and just, talking about everything. It's a totally relaxing, wonderful show. Even when you have the crazy pastors on that are just completely batshit nuts.
That give me like that. I ended up walking away with big old red marks on my forehead from face palming so much.
It gives her major anxiety.
Was that Tommy? That
yeah, Tommy.
Oh my God, it's
Pastor
like listening to Trump at the RNC.
Yeah, Pastor Tommy.
Well, actually, I think Trump was a little easier for me to listen to, because as I listened to this guy given his talking points, I was going, this is the same arguments that my brother uses, and it's not. No.
Well, I think, we got to the point to where we no longer have believers on, because you can only argue the same argument so many times. Mm-hmm. No one brings anything new to the table, which is why I told Tommy, I knew you were going to say that, because nobody says anything new.
Right. But the difference between Trump and Tommy was that Tommy actually believes the shit he's spewing. Well, Trump is just spewing lies.
Yeah, Trump doesn't. I don't think anybody really knows what Trump really believes. He's right. Saying exactly what he thinks he needs to get in the office.
Right. He's lying, and he knows he's lying. Whereas Tommy actually believes what he's saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, that's the difference between those two. And I got into facepalm moment with Tommy, because I'm like, really? I mean, and I think, I can't really get mad at him, because I actually believed in that at one time.
So that used to be you?
Yeah. That used to be me. Whereas when I look at Trump, I'm like, you're a fucking liar.
Yeah.
And you're fucking lying. Trump makes promises that he knows he is not going to be.
He can't keep them.
Mm-hmm. You cannot make Mexico build a freaking wall. Just saying.
And even if you do, they make tunnels.
Yeah.
Right? We have tunnels in Savannah.
It's just, it's ridiculous. But speaking of believers and such, I was also going to ask, when did you guys hook up with Secular Media Group? How did that actually come about?
That happened just before we went live. Matter of fact, that was one of the things that we announced, I think, when we went live, was that we were part of the Secular Media Group. John Carve,
may he rest
in peace, was the one who kind of made that happen. John reached out and said, hey, we're starting something called the Secular Media Network. It's brand new. David wants to bring shows on and create, a network. Would you be interested in joining up with David Smalley of Dogma Debate? how the hell do you say no to that?
I would have a hard time.
You don't. You don't. And I said, yeah, we would definitely be interested in that. What is it going to entail? And it entailed a contract, which eventually we no longer have anymore. He went ahead and got rid of all the contracts. But he still kept us as a part of his network. There were stipulations. The one thing I can say about David is he's a perfectionist. You know, he wants everything right. He wants it sounding right. He wants everything, you know, tip-top shape. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that concerned me was, how was our audio quality? And when I finally got a chance to talk to David on the phone, he's like, dude, your audio quality is fine, you know. And he said, where do you want to see your show go, and how can we help you as part of a network make that happen? I was all in. You know, here's someone that has a very good following, and he's willing to take me, someone who is not very big, mm-hmm. not very well known, you know, relatively new to the atheist community, but he's willing to take me under his wing and kind of mentor me and teach me. And I give him a lot of the credit for our sound quality, for the type of show we do. It's him, you know, and we were very fortunate to be a part, and are currently still a part of this Secular Media Network and the Secular Media Group. So yeah, that's kind of how it came to be. You know, they approached us and we said, heck yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask also what it was like to work with David Smalley, because I kind of had a feeling that he might have been part of the reason that you had the PG-13 moniker for so long.
Actually, that's not true.
Yeah, that
is a big myth. Believe it or not, that is something that has gone around this community for a while. Everybody thinks that David Smalley made us go PG-13. That is in fact not true. To go PG-13 was my idea, and I'll tell you why I did that. I thought going PG-13 would open our show up to a broader audience. If we could put on a show that a mother who was taking their children to school on Monday morning could plug in our show and listen to it and not have to worry about F-bombs being dropped and, you know, MF this and fuck this and, you know, and all this, we would tap into that listenership having a PG-13 show. Another thing that did it was a long time ago, way back in the days, we had a 13-year-old atheist guest, G. She was from Buffalo. And toward the end of that interview, her mom asked me, are there any PG-13 shows that are kid-friendly? And I could not say my own show because we were explicit. And she was a guest on my show. Mm-hmm. And I could not recommend my own show. That ate at me. That really, really bugged me. So I talked to Ashley. She agreed to go PG-13. And she was okay with it for a while. And then she just got tired of it and said, you know what? I don't like feeling like I'm
being censored.
Like you're stifling my speech. Mm-hmm. She said, I want to be able to be who I am. And that, unfortunately, that's not going to involve a PG-13 show. So we kind of had that discussion, and in the end, she proved that she was right. You know, that was something I did unknowing, you know, not thinking about it, but I truly had, you know, made it to where no one could speak freely because they were afraid to say anything.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to the Ishmael show, the show with that first show you guys had with Ishmael Brown, that he couldn't hardly speak because he couldn't use any expletives, and so he was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
So here's how mine and Bobby's relationship works on a personal level and on a business level. I state the obvious. He disagrees. couple of days later, excuse me, him and I get into a huge argument.
Yeah, so you got to put the argument in there. Yeah.
And it's normally a vocal argument.
Oh, sure.
Because we don't
No.
we don't do none of the other shit.
No.
And then normally about 3 days later, Bobby comes back and goes, you know what? You were right.
Yeah, because I have to sit and think about it for.
So I have to go through, even though I know I was right, I still have to go through the 3 days of
And the argument.
In the argument.
Yes.
For him to come to the conclusion that I was right.
Absolutely. I'm not going to give it to you freely.
Could you narrow it down to like 2 days? I'm getting worn out here.
Damn it. Three's a magic number.
Yeah, well.
But you know what? She's right. That always happens. Always. Because look, I'm someone that I'll sit back and I'll think about something and I'll rationalize it and I'll take it and I'll twist it any way I can twist it and look at it from every angle I can look at it. Mm-hmm. And if she's right, she's right. So I'll have to, stick my head between my legs and walk up and say those words, that no man really enjoys saying to a woman. You're right.
See, I avoid all that mess because with my wife, I know most of the time that she's right. We've got our spots that she's good at certain things and I'm good at certain things, and so that's pretty much, if it has to do with anything that's in her realm, that's all her, and if it's something on my side of it, then I get to have the final say in it. So, yeah.
Well, we've been together almost 7 years now, so we're starting to get into the groove of this whole thing.
Yeah, well, me and this this year's 16 years, so.
Yeah, so see, I'm still a baby at this, so I'm still learning. I still have a little bit of that, being dominant in me.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So she's slowly beating me down and winning.
I think my wife's got a stick that you could borrow, Miss Ashley.
Cool.
Look, you already have me cowering in the corner. What else do you want?
I don't know. We'll think of something.
Oh, baby.
What the hell was that?
What was what?
It sounded like it went, oh, booby.
Oh, baby.
That was me doing my own sound effects. I do voice work on the side too, or I do it for my kids mostly.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, story time at my house gets very interesting, I tell you.
What you need to do is start recording them.
Yes.
Seriously.
I've thought about it.
You should.
I might just do that.
Yeah.
So
because you never know, you might tap into something that might explode.
I might there too.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you also, when did you guys decide to bring on the Prophet and Miss Morgan?
The Prophet came on around episode 22. He was a patron supporter, and he gave me the idea was, hey, why don't you have your patrons bring on your patron supporters to join you during Atheist Bible Study? And I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. And since it was his idea, I brought him on first. And we fell in love with him. It's just his personality is awesome. His laugh is infectious, and he's a smart ass, mm-hmm. and he fits in really well with us, which is ironic because he's from Arizona and we're a couple rednecks. But it's funny how that works. And we just fell in love with him, and we kept asking him to come back and join us for Atheist Bible Study, once or twice a month. Mm-hmm. And it got to the point to where he became so important to us, and people were enjoying him to the point to where they were really, stop it.
Yes, sir.
To the point to where they were actually asking if he was going to be on the show. Here, let me mute this so that you don't make so much damn noise.
Oh, is she lighting a cancer stick over there?
Yeah, okay. So people started asking if we were.
Is she be all right over there?
You done?
Yes, I'm done. I'm done choking. Thank you.
You're welcome.
About time. Hell. I stopped talking so that he can edit that out.
No, I'm going to do this just like it was a live show, so I'm not really going to mess with the editing on it much at all. I may cut in some spots for breaks, but that's going to be about it.
Oh, well, then, you know what? I let it go then.
Exactly.
If I didn't do at least one thing to upset you on whatever show we are on, including our own, it would not be NRR.
We're not in our R. We're on Brother Brewer show.
Well,
Right, but we're in
So,
our R on Brother
get it
Brewer
right.
Show.
yeah.
So anyway,
Don't sass me.
before I was rudely interrupted,
That's right.